Warning! Hiring the wrong contractor may be detrimental to your home. The home improvement industry is rated #1 for customer complaints by the Better Business Bureau.
That's why we're proud to be an A+ rated company here at Big State Remodeling. And you, the people of Amarillo, voted us the best of Amarillo 3 years in a row. Big State Remodeling, we have a window for every budget. Get on the web at bigstateremodeling.com and see our special offers, or come by our showroom here at 2800 Hobbs, or give us a call, 358-7419.
Welcome to Pigskin Review 2010. We're back. Bigger and better, or older and better, I don't know. Jon Mark Beilue, you guys know him as the columnist for the Globe-News. He was a sports editor forever here, and we are thrilled to have him give his insight and knowledge this year.
Well, let's see, Lance, I was doing the math. There's about 60 years of experience between us. I don't know what that means other than the fact that we're old, but also what is new, at least, is this set behind us. As you can see, it's pretty nice. Got some helmets, but it's a little barren. And if you have something from your school that you'd like to add to it, if it's an old mouth guard or whatever it is you can find, we'll be willing to accept just about anything and add it to our set each week. So
you serious about a mouth guard?
Well, you know, I don't want anybody to steal something of value. We don't want anybody in trouble, but
I like the idea.
If you got something you want to add to it that says something about your school, I think we'd be more than happy to add to that.
Yeah, game-winning touchdown picture, maybe even something like that. We would love that. Also, we're bragging. We are an award-winning show here, and we've had a lot of fun the past few years. We plan to have a lot more this year. So I don't think they really want to talk about us and our set.
That's plenty, and I don't.
We want to know about football, so let's get to that right away. Jon Mark, UIL Realignment is always an event every 2 years, but this year it kind of rocked the Panhandle.
Well, you know, every even-numbered year, you know, in February they announced that realignment, and you cover that pretty heavily, and then you kind of forget about it until the season starts, and then you realize, boy, there's some impact here that's going to really affect a lot of schools and a lot of coaches and a lot of who goes to the playoffs and who doesn't.
Exactly, and obviously let's get started with District 2-5A, Midland, Odessa, that whole situation where you had all that travel, especially in non-football sports like basketball. We're out of there now, and now we have San Angelo Central, the 3 Lubbock schools, Monterey, Coronado, Lubbock High, Tascosa, and Amarillo High. How you see that changing the, 4 of the 6 teams make the playoffs, bottom line?
Yeah, that, for purists, that's not something that we all like, is to have 4 of the 6 go, but I do like the old back to the future, the old district kind of in a way. For one reason, the travel is much less. For another reason is you're competing against schools that are about the same size in enrollment, a couple of hundred here or there, as opposed to huge schools like Odessa High and Permian and that, even though Central is obviously a big one too. But it's a little more equitable, but I think a lot of fans will like it just because the travel portion of it is a lot less.
Yeah, I think it's fan-friendly. Tascosa, we have second-year coach Kim Plunk back, and then the Mel Maxfield era starts at Amarillo High with Brad Thiessen moving on to take the athletic director's job. And he's bringing back the wing T, and he's going to start a sophomore quarterback, as I understand, Gabe Rodriguez. So it should be quite an interesting we'll learn a lot in non-district about both those schools.
Yeah, we will. And, right now, you'd have to say those 2 schools, maybe 1 and 2. That remains to be seen. But based on how they fared over the last couple of years, how their younger JV teams have done, I think those might be the top 2 schools in this new district.
Exactly. Just a heads up, Halloween weekend, we could have Amarillo High, Tascosa, both undefeated going there.
That would be
add to the hell week, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Would be.
Hey, and then, okay, let's go to District 3-4A. While 2-5A moved down, 3-4A is now larger and bigger.
And I think better, because last year 3-4A was not that strong, but now you've got Hereford in there, and we know how good Hereford was last year. I don't know if they'll be quite as good this year, but they'll be very solid under Don DeLozier, and then they add Friendship. So I think you'll have a much better 4A district.
Totally agree there. And then with Pampa moving out of 3-4A, Jon Mark, into 1-3A, that's still a really small district, but Pampa's in there now.
Pampa, like we were talking earlier, I don't know if they've ever been that small of a class. And Heath Parker, I think, left Pampa with that idea in mind that they were going to drop down. But they're going to have all they can handle from the old guard.
Along with Pampa, Dowhart's really got it rolling up there with Stephen Young, former Paladura, defensive coordinator, has done a great job. He's back in his hometown. I think this is his 4th year up there, Jon Mark, and I think they're expecting big things with some big kids.
Yeah, they've kind of taken steps each year and gotten better each year, so it'll be interesting to see how they do in 2010.
What's fun about realignment, Jon Mark, is sometimes you get some districts that are just some are ridiculously weak, let's be honest, but some are ridiculously strong. And District 1 2A, Division 1, we have the 2008 state champion Muleshoe, the 2009 state runner-up in Bushland, and then you have Littlefield thrown in there as probably the favorite in that district, ranked as high, I think, as 4 in the early AP polls.
Yeah, and you got River Road in there. You know, you've got, I guess there's 8 teams, and this is one district where, you know, you can't water it down by getting 3 or 4 teams into the playoffs. Everybody has their favorite stat about that, how tough that district is. I was just looking at it. Last year, coming into this year, you have teams that have won 15 games, 10, 10, 9, and 8. I mean, it's just a really tough, but it's going to be a fun district to follow.
Yeah, Coach Flowers did a great job of getting Bushland over the hump last year. They lose their quarter. A lot of great players, you know, going on to Division I, and we'll see how that, you know, we'll see how that folds out.
You know, it's tough when you've got a team that's traditionally strong like Childress, who's really at the bottom
almost
of the barrel,
forgotten, yeah.
and you know, almost a forgotten team right now, and but if you look at what's ahead of them or what's above them, you understand that. But it's just I don't think there's any question it's the toughest 2A district in the state.
Bar none, and then we'll see how Brett Wilhelm does at the quarterback. Did a great job in the playoffs. Let's move into Division 1-1A, District 1-1A, Division 1. That's another one we were talking about earlier, how tough that is with Stratford, Canadian, the always forgotten Sunray, and then you have Boys Ranch, who has one of the greatest players we have in the area this year, Laquan McGowan at one of their tackles.
Yeah, it's going to be, you know, as nothing really changes when Sunray and Stratford are in that same district. They survive the realignment. They're in that same district again, and you know, it's kind of unusual, I guess, in the fact that one team has won at the other's home field the last several years, and so I don't know if this will hold again this year, but both are loaded again and expect to play a long way in the playoffs.
What's new with the two teams is Stratford's got like a real new locker room. You know, there was old schools that gets and loved that, took pride in that, but they've done a great job up there. And then Chris Ketting, former Panhandle star and played at West Texas, been a long-time assistant there, will be Canadian's head coach.
Kyle Lynch, most people know, went on to be superintendent, so Chris takes over.
So that's it with the classification changes. A ton of them. We could talk on that all day. We love to talk realignment. It never gets old. But let's move on. We've got, you know, the Panhandle Classic kickoff in Dick Bivens Stadium. It's kind of started a few years ago and really bringing some small schools to Amarillo along with our annual showdowns.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how many years, 6 or 7, but I guess, you know, it may be the first game in the whole state. Kicks off at about 4:30 on Thursday today with Sunray and Floydada, and then it goes from there. And you got small schools, you got big schools, but Dick Bivens will be a pretty hopping place this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have that game, and then obviously tonight you'll have Caprock, Seth Parr's 4th year. They haven't made the playoffs since '75, but I really think they made strides. They have Gerardo Ruiz, excuse me. That's easy for me to say, but anyway, he threw for 2. Hey, Ruiz, you can throw, you know it. 2,000 yards he passed for last year. I think they got a chance, Jon Mark. I mean, the district did get tougher, but I think they've improved.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, this is a game level land. I think it was 1-9 a year ago. So this
Right.
game they should win and kind of get a little momentum. I know in the past few years they've been open on that first week, and they hadn't gotten to play until you know, the following week. And so now they're one of the first teams to play in the Panhandle, and I know they got to like that.
And then Friday night, real quick, we got Paladura Tasco, so that's kind of highlights that Friday night game. 49th meeting. It's 24-23-1, believe it or not, with Tascosa winning last year, that wild one, 37-34. PD's got those 2 great running backs back. Hicks and Everhart both ran for 1,000 last year. Tascosa's defense, Alejandro Magianis is just a great middle linebacker, kind of leads that team.
What's interesting is the 2 running backs that you mentioned, Everhart and Hicks, both played at Tascosa as freshmen, so all those kids know them, and I'm sure they'll be geared up to try to stop them, which will not be easy because those 2 guys can fly, they can break tackles, they're just really good running backs.
It's a great city rivalry you have. And then Saturday night, if you want to catch a great small school team, Spearman and Naz, they have great tradition. down a little bit the past, with Naz only having 2 starters back, but Spearman's trying to make a rise. So we encourage you to go out and support your teams. And, hey, you can buy a ticket for one of the games and just hang out there and got a chance to see 5 games of Dick Bivens.
And I want to bring this up too, Lance. You guys, your staff did a great job on the Pigskin preview. It's out today. It's also online, the site, and you can see it all and kind of get ready for the season at hand. And I know you guys put in a lot of work, and always said, having done a few of those, that it was the male equivalent of giving birth. And I don't know if you agree with that.
Well, I totally agree with that. Not having ever done that, of course, but it's quite a chore. I appreciate the compliment, but we really encourage you to go enjoy this. And you have all your schedules, all the players you can check out. And Dave Henry's got a great feature on a young man up in Wellington who plays the game, who is deaf, which is just an amazing story. But hey, we're excited for the season to start. We hope you are. Go out and support your team. Hey, Jon Mark, along with our publication, we are excited about our website. It's one of the best in the state as far as high school football goes. PigskinReview.com. You get all your information there. And then, as you well know, on Friday nights, you can tune in and get the scores.
Hey, I got to tell you, Amarillo.com, I'm not just saying this. On Friday nights, if I'm at a game or I'm watching my son play, you go home or you call them up online before you get home. And it's got most of the scores, updated scores, real-time scores. You can't beat it.
Exactly, and we encourage you to dial in and call us with your scores because we update them by the quarter. So you can just log on or get it off your phone out at the games. It's really an incredible thing that's been happening, and we enjoy that because we're all calling each other back and forth too. That's what's fun about high school. Hey, who's ahead at half? Blah blah blah. So that's a great thing.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, good first show.
As Putt Powell used to say, and we both knew him, it's time to blow up the football. So I guess
exactly.
We will.
So, hey, thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week on Pigskin Review 2010.